With me on the telephone is Annette Hanshaw. Now, let's be quite honest. If you're a product of the 1940s or 50s and 60s and 70s, you might be in trouble. But if you really want to look back, and some of our older folks will certainly remember the name Annette Hanshaw. Annette, are these days good for you?
These days? You mean what's happening now?
That's right. Yeah, let's talk about today rather than yesterday.
I would rather, because, I loathe being dated. It's all this very old-time thing. And somehow or other, whenever they reissue any of my records, they seem to choose the worst ones, the very oldest ones and the very worst ones, in my opinion, anyway.
Well, in your opinion, then, what is, if I was to say something, well, Annette Hanshaw, of the recordings you made in the late 20s into the early 30s, what are you more proud of? Is there any particular selection, something along that line?
As a matter of fact, I disliked all of them intensely. I was most unhappy when they were released. I just often cried because I thought they were so poor. Mostly because of my work, but a great deal, I suppose, because of the recording. Many times it didn't sound at all the way I sang it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Annette, you don't seem to bear too much affection towards your, shall we call it, your very brief recording span. Am I correct in saying that?
I didn't hear what you said.
I said you don't seem to bear too much affection towards the work that you turned out.
Oh, heavens, no. I disliked the business intensely. I loathed it. And I'm ashamed to say that I just did it for the money. I love singing, jamming with musicians, and when it isn't, important to do. But somehow or other, I was terribly nervous when I sang, and I actually went down to 83 pounds. That's why I quit in the very end, and I just couldn't take it anymore. You just have to be such a ham and love performing, and I happen to be an introvert, and it just wasn't. I just wasn't happy singing, and I wasn't happy with my work, as I say. So that was the story. When I quit, I was making, I don't know if it interests anyone, but I was making $1,500 for 12 minutes on a camel show.
That's pretty good.
Yes. You see, I'm a bit of a flake.
Annette, may I ask, when you did the camel show, that's pretty well, the early days of radio, were you working out of New York at the time?
Yes, out of New York, and we did a replay for the West Coast. We did, 2 shows twice a week, and that was fun because I adore the Glenn Gray show.
Casaloma Band?
We're doing something now, and I bloop like that, wouldn't it?
Oh, terrible. And that, just so people will know what we're talking about, let me play one of your records from that era. I'm going to pick one.
Do you have to?
Oh, you darn right I do. I got you on the line. We're going to do it. Do you remember a thing called A Precious Little Thing Called Love?
Oh, I do.
It's a darling tune.
Well, it's sweet of you to say that.
Well, let's hear you, and I'm just guessing at this. I'm just guessing. I think the year might be 1929. Am I close enough?
Let me see. Oh, I don't remember. There were so many of them.
I think it was from a picture called Shop-Worn Angel.
Well, whatever the time that came out, but it might have been, I thought perhaps a little later, but maybe not.
Annette, dear, this is you in the late 20s. Listen.
Why does my heart miss a beat at some footsteps on the street? It's a precious little thing called love. Why am I content alone when I know someone will phone? It's a precious little thing called love. I see a day in June, a wedding tune, a honeymoon cruise. Friends I know who will throw some rice and old shoes. But the one thing makes me say, heaven's just across the way. It's a precious little thing called love. nothing wrong with me, for I guess what it was all about. Oh, na 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 na, oh, na 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 na, I do, that precious thing called love. It's so hard to concentrate, I don't even know the day. It's a precious little thing that they call love. I see a day in June, a wedding tune, a honeymoon cruise. Friends that I know who will venture right and old. But the one thing makes me stay, heaven's just across the way. It's that precious little thing called love.
We're talking with Annette Hanshaw, and those that might go to the old record stores or the second-hand shops, and you come across labels like Velvetone and a label called D-I-V-A, Diva, I assume, you stumble across these quite often. Annette Hanshaw, very much a product of the 1920s into the 30s. Annette, you must be delighted to know that I spoke the other day, and person to person, I met her, Ruth Edding. I caught up with her in Colorado Springs, and she's very much a part of the era in which you were recording, too.
Did you really? Yeah, she was an awfully big talent and very, very popular in that era.
But she did remember you, because we were talking about, I said, who was your competition at that time? And she mentioned you and people like Helen Kane and so many others.
That's true. That's just about it. There's something that I found rather interesting and not especially happy for me. Benny Goodman has just reissued, come out with an album called Benny Plays for the Girls. And that was when Benny was a sideman, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He is a studio musician. And, of course, I always love to have him on my records. And he has on it, perhaps 4 or 5 of mine. Just somebody, one of the people that called me, told me about it. But he has Ethel Waters, who was, of course, that time magnificent.
She was the best of her time.
Oh, the very best.
Do you feel the same way?
Absolutely. I was mad about her. And then also he has Connie Boswell, who was a very great performer, I thought.
Connie Vett and Martha, right?
Yes, but she was, she did solo records too.
Sure,
so this
she
was
did.
apparently a solo.
Yeah.
And then he had someone who was quite far back called Lee Morse.
Yes.
And then he had myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was, I haven't heard it. I just saw the, the blobby.
Yes. By the way, dear, it's on Sunbeam Records. Sunbeam is the record label if you're looking for it around New York.
Is that the one?
That Sunbeam Records have reissued, yes.
You know of it?
Oh, we have it here.
Oh, I'll be down. How is it?
Excellent. I think they did a beautiful transfer job. They cleaned up the surfaces, and you've come out shining pretty good.
Oh, but they never ever play the ones that I like. But I guess, you can't relive your past mistakes. That's the trouble.
Annette, you're a darling because you're so self-deprecating. You keep putting yourself down, and you were very much a product of the times, and a very good one, I think. I think you're a fine singer.
Well, it's kind of you to say that, but I was. Showbiz was awfully kind to me, but I disliked it so.
Just a minute. I want to play Mean to Me. Do you remember recording that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, listening to it right now.
You be mean to me, sweet honey, it seems to me you love to see me crying. I don't know why I stay home each night when you say your phone. You don't, and I'm left alone, singing the blues and sighing. You treat me coldly each day in the year. You always scold me whenever somebody is near, dear. It must be great fun to be mean to me. must you be mean to me? Oh, gee, honey, it seems to me you love to see me crying. Please tell me why I stay at home each night when you say you'll phone. You don't, and I'm left alone, just singing the blues and sighing. You treat me coldly each day in the year. You always scold me whenever somebody is near, dear. It must be great fun for you, can't you see what you're doing to me? Please tell me why you're so mean to me.
With me on the line is Annette Hanshaw. We're speaking to her in New York City, and I'm delighted that my friend Bob Pye up in Kelowna was able to give me your number just to track down and remember an era that's lost. But, you know, America's really looking back these days to nostalgia, and I'm sorry, dear, but you're a part of it.